So this is season 2 of Tick's adventures, but you might notice a change in that I'm moving over to using Ironsworn, and the reason for that is, well, I've been enjoying using it. It's probably one of the best solo systems out there, and I've been playing solo, and I just wanted to make life a little bit easier for myself. I think I did well with Forbidden Lands all by itself, playing it solo with the Mythic GM Emulator and the Adventure Crafter. Maybe I'll go back to them, maybe I'll bring them into this, but I wanted to give Ironsworn a go, not only because it works really well, but also I'm looking forward to Starforged coming as well, so I really want to get to grips with how to use these systems. So the story so far, there'll be the links to the previous videos below, but the story so far, if you don't want to watch those, and to be honest, from about video 5 the sound got good, so the 4 videos before that the sound wasn't that great. So a bit of a recap here for you. So we began season 1 with like a prelude. We had these 2 characters running through the woods, being chased. Who were they? We don't know, but they were holding a little baby. What we discover is my character Tick, the goblin, as you can see on the screens, perhaps there. But the thing about Forbidden Lands is we don't know. Well, halflings can give birth to goblins, and goblins can give birth to halflings. They're related, they're the same species, really. So we did know it was all dark. We don't know, are these parents goblins themselves carrying Tick, or are they halflings carrying Tick, which is possible. And they were being pursued. We could hear hounds chasing them, and they were clearly fearful. But why are they being pursued? We don't know any of this. We don't know who they are. And they stumble into this glade in the woods, panicking, don't know what to do with this child, when a strange face from a living tree looks at them, and they panic for a second, but this kindly voice booms out to them, offering to protect the child. And somehow they trust this tree. It opens up, the trunk opens up, and inside is this little nest, and they place the baby inside, and he compels them to flee, that the hunters are close by, and they flee. And we flash to the present day, where Tick is living with this wolf pack. With a wolf pack, he's been brought up by wolves, and this talking tree, who we discover is called Bakari Arjun, and he's been Tick's mentor, his teacher, and his protector, along with this wolf pack. But we begin where Tick he's been licked. He's having this strange dream, and he's been licked. Maybe a dream about the prelude is his parents, perhaps. And he wakes up, and his companion, Grey Cat the wolf, is licking him awake, and he's wow. And he realizes he's covered in blood. Tick's covered, Grey Cat's covered in blood, and he quickly realizes something bad's happened. There's blood everywhere. There's wolves, pack members missing, and he goes and consults Bakari, his mentor, the tree. Bakari reveals to me Bakari's got magical powers. He can see through the eyes of other creatures in the woods, so he's observed what's going on, and he reveals to Tick that some humans have attacked them and taken some of the pack members, but he warns Tick, immediately wants to go rescue these. What are humans? Who are humans? And Bakari tries to explain to him that they're like old boars, angry boars, because Tick's never met a human. He's been protected in this glade. The red mist has kept him there, but protected by the power of Bakari and the wolves. So he's never met a human. He doesn't know what they are. And Bakari tries to explain that they're kind of jealous, angry boars, which confuses Tick. But he only knows the animals of the wood. But he warns Tick, humans hate goblins. You need to be careful, Tick, if you're going to go save the pack. And to arm Tick, once again, Bakari's womb, he calls it, opens up, and Tick is quite surprised. Normally it's a nice little cozy nest, or it might have different animals in there that Bakari taught him about. Sometimes the wombs open up and there's been a baby badger, and Bakari's taught Tick, like the circle of life, there's been different creatures in there that Bakari's taught Tick about. But today there's a spear and a bow and arrow, a quiver of arrows, and even a bear trap. And Tick naively christens the spear Sharp Tooth, and the bow and arrows Little Tooth, and the bear trap is, well, what is this contraption? And Bakari explains to him that one day the angry bear came to him, and Tick's like looking around the angry bear. Oh, I hate that bear. And Bakari explains why the angry bear is so angry and has got a scarred leg at the back. It's because he came to Bakari with this contraption on his leg, and Bakari saved him and healed him. And so gives this to Tick. It might come in handy. Tick gives the bow and arrow a go, and to Bakari's amusement and Tick's surprise, he's actually quite talented with it. And so Tick and Grey Cat storm off into the woods to try and save a pack, and they quickly track down these hunters. These hunters wouldn't think they were being tracked, so they're not hard to find, and not trying to cover their tracks. And they quickly find, unfortunately, 4 of the pack have already been killed and skinned, but 3 are in chains and being dragged and whipped by these hunters driving them on. And as viewers, as a player, I used the Adventure Crafter and the Mythic deck to learn that these hunters are from a local town called the Hollows, and they're not very happy about this job. They've been sent, as we learn later, by Mrs. Polymer. Now, Mrs. Polymer is in charge of the Hollow. She's like the leader. She sent out the gamekeeper called Vike to go collect some pelts, but some live specimens. She says, I want some live specimens. Get me those live specimens. It's my dog growling. She's asleep, dreaming. Appropriate sound effects. And I kept flipping these cards, rolling in for these prompts, and it just turned out amazing, really. Mrs. Polymer has this dark secret. She's trying to awaken an ancient power to bring her power, and actually she's slowly developing some strange powers herself, and Tick and his family has got something to do with this, we discover, and this is why she needs these wolves. We don't know what she's doing with these animals, but we do know is that she's trying to gain the favour of some ancient creature, deity. She is going to be its loyal servant in return for some greater powers. We don't know who this is, but to achieve this all we know is that she's got to bring back the minions, the undead minions, free them for this master, and then her reward becoming. So, Tick, Grey Cat, tracked down the hunters, killed them. Surprising to me, it was the first time I'd used the Forbidden Lands combat system, and they dispatched these hunters pretty well, really. But one vital thing, mistake they made, the horses bolt, and one of them makes it back to the Hollows, and Mrs. Polymer realises that something's gone wrong here. Where are the hunters? Why haven't they returned? So she sends out search parties. They can't find the hunters anywhere. It's a big old forest. Nobody knew where they went. They didn't tell anybody, just that they were going hunting. So Mrs. Polymer has to take things into her own hands. She heads out into the woods, and perhaps using some of the power she's been gifted so far, she manages to find Vikes, the gamekeeper's dead body, and she revives him temporarily to interrogate him of what's happened. She learns, music to her ears really, that a goblin, a pale goblin, attacked them, and this, we don't know why, but she knows this is what she's been looking for, that this is important. And then we roll up a new character, actually, someone called Fatima Lockwood. And Fatima Lockwood is the village idiot. In the Game Master's Guide, there's a village called Hollows, and one of the characters is the village idiot. And Mrs. Polymer manipulates this character. I came up with Fatima being an ogre. I thought that was a really interesting bit of fluff from Forbidden Lands. I think they were the spawn of humans and dwarfs mating. Sometimes it goes a little bit wrong and you get these big brutes, perhaps sometimes low intelligence though. So Mrs. Polymer tricks Fatima. Fatima, we discovered, was in love with Vike, the gamekeeper. And Mrs. Polymer said, well, he loved you too, and that he was about to ask you to marry him, and Fatima's overjoyed, but then Polymer tells her that he's been murdered. She's Fatima's devastated, and wants to seek revenge. Who murdered him? And Mrs. Polymer says it's a goblin living in the woods. There's this evil goblin, part of this evil society out there, this evil pact. Go seek your revenge. And Bakari's returned to his normal life. We discover he's not the Alpha anymore. He's never been the Alpha, but the Alpha's been killed. But the new Alpha has accepted Tick to remain in the pack. So Tick's life goes back to normal, really. Bakari's uneasy. The red mist has lifted, and it hasn't taken long before humans have found them and they've got into trouble. So he's very uneasy. But Tick goes hunting, returns, falls asleep, like he does every day, resting with Bakari. Bakari's absorbing the sunlight. Tick's nocturnal, so he's resting in the shade. Where he awakes once again to Grey Cat licking him, frantically trying to wake him up. He immediately smells smoke burning, and they awake to this great fire in the woods. Fatima has found them, and she's trapped them in the glade. She's set fires all around, and it's closing in on them. Bakari compels Tick to come inside his room. I can protect you. We can't escape this. But they're attacked by Fatima. She's enraged that they've killed her beloved Vike. She even says that to him. You killed Vike. Mrs. Polymer told me what's happened. And this battle ensues, but she's a brute. She almost crushes Grey Cat's head. And the fire's closing in. it's clear that Tick can't survive this, but he refuses to go inside Bakari's womb. He wants to save Grey Cat, wants to kill this terrible creature that's attacking them and set his beloved glade on fire and endangered Bakari. Bakari's starting to burn too. But Bakari takes control of Grey Cat momentarily, and Grey Cat pushes and drags Tick into the womb, pushes him in, and the last thing that Tick sees is the doors of the Bakari's tree trunk womb closing, and Fatima's club coming down. We don't see that, but that's the last thing he sees, Fatima's club coming down on Grey Cat. Is Grey Cat alive? We don't know. He's trapped in the glade, about to be clubbed to death. We don't know. Tick, safe inside Bakari's womb, but Bakari's dying, and his dying words he reveals, tells his story, his legend to Tick, that he was actually a great sorcerer. And Tick's heard these stories before, stories of fireballs by a great sorcerer that travels the world, the countryside, helping people and doing good. And he's always loved those stories from Bakari, but he didn't realise Bakari was this sorcerer. But he explains how he became a tree, in that he had a friend called Emric Thurston, a human sorcerer. It was Bakari's. This was Bakari's apprentice, this human. And Emric had discovered this treasure that they'd been searching for. We learned that this is a red ruby. Now, in Forbidden Lands, red rubies contain the souls of elves. Sometimes people collect these. Some people like torturing them, smashing them just out of pleasure that they're destroying an elf. But others use them for power. I think you can even animate strange creatures using these rubies, so they're quite precious. But Bakari confesses that he was overcome by greed, and this all came out from me rolling on the GM's Apprentice and the Adventure Crafter. Just from a few rolls, this story came out that Bakari was overcome by greed and betrayed his friend, really, his apprentice. And in defence, his apprentice uses this new spell that he'd developed. Quite a primitive spell, quite simple, but effective. And trapping Bakari in this tree. We don't know what happened to Emric. Emric thinks Bakari's destroyed, is dead. Doesn't realise he's trapped in this tree. And Bakari's been in this tree for decades, maybe centuries. He's forgetting things, he doesn't really know. But what he does know is that his roots go very, very deep into this ruin. Tick's like, what, a ruin? No, there's no ruin in this glade. He said, oh, there is below me. Trust me, my roots go down deep into this ruin. Where this ruby is. The glade's on fire. I'm on fire. There's no escape. You need to go down into this ruin. Follow the stream. Bakari knows there's a stream. He's feeding on it for decades, centuries perhaps. He knows it's down there. Follow the stream. You'll find a way out. Follow the water. Wherever the water goes, you can get out. And find the ruby. It will help protect you. And Tick's refusing, but he slowly comes to realise that Bakari's dying. And with the last remaining power that Bakari has, he makes Tick fall asleep. There's cinders falling round, but he protects Tick inside his womb. And season 1 ends with Bakari once again awaking to a wolf licking him. It's, oh, Grey Cat, you're back. But he wakes up and it's a little wolf pup, but a strange little wolf pup. It's got a red ruby embedded in its chest, and we realise that Bakari's dying words he said to Tick his last dying words as he was making him go to sleep. He said, "Tick, I'll never leave you. I'll always be with you in some way." And Tick looks at this pup and says, "Bakari?" And the little pup's head turns to a side like they do when they're trying to understand what he's saying to them. And we ended it there. I thought that was quite a good way there. Is Bakari this pup? And that's where this next season begins. You can probably see on the screen. Oh, here's Tick. Let's go Tick. Here's Tick. His bow. So as you can see on the screen, I'm going to use Delve to figure out, get Tick out of this ruin, maybe find the ruby. So as it says on my Delve sheet there, leave with the ruby, and this is the ruin below Bakari's tree, and I've chosen the theme ancient, and ruin seems suitable. It's clearly been there centuries, because we think Bakari's been living on top of this ruin for centuries. I think it was probably there centuries before him, when him and his apprentice discovered it, and the ruby down there. So I'm going to use the ancient and ruin domains, and I've already populated. Let's zoom in a bit. Already populated the Denzians a little bit. So I imagined there's some isopods there, little like I think from I'm going to be using Dilemma Adventures. It's a book of creatures, foes for Ironsworn. So page 84 there's icepod. It's like a little woodlouse. Quite harmless, I think. Not too much for Tick to worry about. There's also some insectoids there from the Game Master's Guide for Forbidden Land. Might not need to worry about those. Possibly crypt servants down there kind of fit with the story we were developing about these undead servants that Mrs. Polymer needs. And blue lichen seemed quite interesting, but possibly quite dangerous. And then hope Tick doesn't bump into this, but there's also a bone devil down there. But yeah, what we were left with this mystery from season 1 was who is inside this ruby, which, as we know, elves are trapped or end their days. They've lived so long. I think the fluff is that they just sometimes end their days inside these rubies. I think it's also a way of protecting them. I think perhaps they can be revived as well, or put into a new body if need be, if they so wish, from these rubies. So someone is in this ruby, and it seemed quite precious to Bakari and their apprentice. So we don't know who they've been after or why they wanted that. So I've managed to transfer Tick from Forbidden Lands over to Ironsworn. So zoom a bit. So here is his companion, the Bakari pup. So it used to be Grey Cat, but now he's got the little wolf pup called Bakari. He was a very good archer in Forbidden Lands, so I've chosen the archer combat talent. And yeah, there's his character sheet. So let's go back to Delve, really. So I guess we need to make a move. We've discovered the site. Let's zoom in here a little bit and read some of these. So we've discovered the site. I've set it as formidable. I mean, this is completely new to Tick. We don't know how big this ruin is really, and it's going to be quite dangerous down there by the looks of the minions that he might come across. It might be crumbling and ancient. So I've set it at formidable. So I think we just begin by delving the depths. So when you traverse an area within a perilous sight, which this certainly is, envision your surroundings. So Tick wakes up in the womb and feels this draft, and there are these steps. He's never seen. He's been in this womb. He's rested in there. He's had lessons in there his entire life. He's never seen these steps before. You know, and the timbers, the inside of the room's all charred. Somehow he's been protected. Maybe I like to imagine there's little soot and little sparks still falling down, and maybe he's getting warmer. You know, he's compelling him. He's going to have to go down these stairs. This tree's burning down around him. It's getting too hot now, so he has to go down these stairs. There's nowhere else to go. There's a breeze, even maybe a bad smell coming out of it, but he's got to go down there. So he picks up, perhaps, or encourages the Bikari wolf pup to follow him. So maybe my first roll would be with haste, because he's got to get out there. Maybe he'll be a bit more careful later on, but he's got to head down these steps with haste. Really, things are burning down and around him. So if I'm rolling with haste, you use edge. So I might quickly zoom over to the Augur, which is a great piece of software for helping you run Ironsworn. So I'm going to roll edge, and that, unfortunately, is a miss. So let's go back. So this isn't a good start, really. So, ornaments reveal a danger. Ugh. Reveal a danger. When you encounter a risky situation within a site, envision the danger or roll on the following table. Can I envision a danger myself? Already? Let's just roll for it, shall we? Where's my dice? Give them a roll. What we got? 3. You encounter a hostile Denzian. A Denzian already. So which Denzian? 36. It's an insectoid. Envision a danger. So we've come across an insectoid. So he's a giant insect-like humanoid. So maybe, the insectoid has been interested in what's going on. It's sealing. It's starting to seal the entrance. It sensed that there's a fire above, and maybe it's working away at sealing the entrance a little, like wasps do. It's spitting out things, daubing them onto the walls, and then slowly sealing the entrance, or as fast as it can, to protect its hive. I guess there's a hive down there somewhere. So they lack wits and empathy. However, they are immune to spells that damage these attributes, as well as to the manipulation skill. The soldiers can have wings, a paralysed poisonous sting, and even wield weapons if the colony is intelligent enough. The only way to root out a colony of insectoid is to kill the queen. If an additional queen is born, the colony will swarm, at which time half of the community wanders off to find a new nesting site. So we have 3 choices: workers and drones, soldiers and queens. Well, I've established it's building this wall, sealing the entrance to protect the hive from a fire. So I'd say it's a worker drone. So they only do a 1 damage slash wound with its bite. So it's so if I remember rightly, Now in the Augur, I have set up a page to help me with fighting. Fighting a foe, there we go, let's zoom in a bit. So let's set up a progress track, set point. Yeah. Okay, and we have to, troublesome, I don't think. It's not as if it's one of the more dangerous soldiers. This is a drone. When you enter the fray, give your foe a standard progress track, which I've done. When you strike or clash and inflict harm, mark progress for each point of harm based on the foe's rank when it's troublesome, so 3 progress per harm, and they inflict 1 harm on me, which fits with what converting that from Forbidden Lands. And if I fail to defend, I'm going to endure harm, so this is quite... and if appropriate, they might make you endure stress. So look at some of the moves available to me. So there's enter the fray. Would Tick immediately attack this thing? I mean, I guess he's got heightened senses at the moment. He's never seen anything like this before. Relationship moves. Could try and compel. When you attempt to persuade someone to do something, a vision approach. Maybe he'll cautiously try and naively talk to this thing, and ask it to let him pass, perhaps. So I don't charm, pacify, barter or convince, threaten or incite, lie or swindle. I think maybe Tick, well, this thing's busy, and maybe hasn't even noticed Tick yet. Maybe Tick will just slowly try to move past it. Maybe he's learned in the woods that some animals, if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. So I'm not really trying to compel then, am I? I'm just trying to move past this thing without trying to. I don't think it's any of the combat moves, is it? Just face danger, perhaps. This is a dangerous situation, but he's trying to get out of it without having a fight. When you attempt something risky or react to an imminent threat with speed, he's not going to try and run past it. Or with precision, with aggressive action, with charm, with deception, stealth or trickery, could be shadow, with expertise. I think with stealth, he's just trying to slowly move past it, keep out of its way. So I think I've reached a decision there. Face danger with stealth. So you roll shadow. Let me just double check. I don't think it's not Grey Cat. Bakari helps me in this situation. When you get when gathering information, Bakari can help. So I'm going to try and sneak past it, not provoke any attack from this thing with stealth roll shadow. For miss. Oh, dear. What happens? On a miss, you fail, or your progress is undermined by a dramatic and costly turn of events. Pay the price. Pay the price. Here we go. When you suffer the outcome of a move, choose one. Make the most obvious negative outcome. Okay, well that's clear. The worker will attack Tick. I think he's failed to. He's sneaking past, keeping his distance, like he would do in the forest. A new creature. You know, we don't kill things for no reason. That's what he's been taught by Bakari. Respect life. But this thing sees him as an intruder and turns and attacks Tick. So, enter the fray it will have to be. When you enter into combat, set the rank. We've done that. Then roll who is in control. Facing off against your foe, roll with heart. Moving into position against an unaware foe or striking without warning. Maybe you should have done that, but hey ho. Ambushed run. So I think we're just facing off here. So roll. So the insect turns around, hisses, goes to bite Tick. A weak hit. A bit of luck this time for Tick. So on a weak hit, choose one. Bolster your position. Take +2 momentum. Prepare to act. Bolster your position. So what do I imagine Tick's doing? So he's going to have to defend himself. This thing's lurching at him, so I guess I will take the initiative. So now I've got initiative. I guess I can strike back. When you have initiative and attack in close quarters, roll plus iron. When you have initiative and attack at range, well, this is close quarters, so Tick, he's got his spear, he's got his bow. Maybe he tries to get his spear, long tooth, between him and this insect as it's lunging towards him. So roll with iron. Weak hit. On a weak hit, inflict your harm and lose the initiative. Ugh. So 3 progress per harm. So Tick lunges. Oh, maybe he just holds it up. He was taken by surprise. Not really a lunge, he's just holds it up. But this insectoid drone worker, not thinking for its own safety, just the safety of the hive, presses forward to attack Tick and impales itself on his spear. It's more the drone lunging than Tick protecting himself, and maybe that's representative of that weak hit there. But the insect maybe backs up. No, actually it's hurt, but just keeps coming at him, maybe even pressing forwards onto this spear. It's only thinking of saving the hive, not itself. But we've lost the initiative. So yeah, I guess that means the insect has got. So I guess this becomes a clash now. When your foe has initiative and you fight with them in close quarters, roll iron. So we're clashing now. This thing's still pressing forwards on this spear. Like in the movies, it can't quite. It's pinned with this spear, but it's slowly dragging itself down the shaft to try and get at Tick. Its mandibles snapping away at Tick. When your foe has initiative and you fight in close quarters, roll with iron. Strong hit. Yes, finally, Tick. On a strong hit, you inflict your harm and choose one. You have the initiative. So we choose one of these. You bolster your position, take +1 momentum. You find an opening, inflict 1 harm. So we've already inflicted harm, and on a strong hit, we get to inflict it again. If I choose that, I think I'll do that. So, this thing is hurting itself going down the shaft, but Tick's holding the spear steady with one, maybe even jams it against the wall behind him, while with his other hand he reaches for his dagger and drives that into the neck of the insect, doing another harm. So it's almost dead. It's only got 1 box left, and I've got the initiative now. So I think we can risk trying to end the fight here. End the fight. When you make a move to take decisive action and score a strong hit, you may resolve the outcome of this fight. When you make a move to take decisive action and score a strong hit, which I did, you may resolve the outcome of this fight. If you do, roll the challenge dice. Compare your progress. Touch roll. Tick roll progress. So I get a strong hit. Yeah, because my progress of 9 beats 3 and 4. I understand that. So, end the fight. On a strong hit, this foe is no longer in the fight. They are killed, out of action. Flee or surrender, as appropriate to the situation. Well, he was trapped on my spear. I just rammed my dagger into its neck. So I think Tick, with green ooze gunk coming out of the insectoid's neck, he gives it another twist, a drive deeper, and the snapping of the jaws as it's just getting, like in the movies, it gets so close, they're just to close on Tick's face when they grind to a halt. A little jitter, and the thing goes limp. Tick pushes it down onto the floor and pulls his spear with another gunk, splattering everywhere. Flicks his dagger. His sharp, one of his sharp teeth, he calls them, and long tooth flicks off the gunk on the floor. But perhaps behind him, there's kind of mistake is made, I suppose, but there was nothing he could do with it. That the entrance is still not sealed. There's perhaps smoke starting to pour in through this entrance, and maybe even some embers start to singe this walks. It's like mud and paper, isn't it, that wasps make? So perhaps when finished it would have held back the flames, but it is cindering a little bit. So Tick, he needs to move on. Maybe he can even hear the chittering of other insectoids coming now. Like wasps in reality, they are attracted to they say don't squash a wasp, don't they, because it can attract others. So I guess Tick needs to move on. Let's go back to Delve. I'm pausing here because I wonder I mean, this is a threat, isn't it? When you give ground to a threat through inaction, failure, or delay, roll on the table below and vision how the change manifests in your world. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do... Let's go back to the Augur. Can delete that insectoid now, can't we? What I'm going to do is... I'm just going to do a progress track called Fire. And... I think it's more than troublesome. It's dangerous, isn't it? And this is the fire following Tick from behind as he delves down into this ruin. So not only has he got to press forwards to get out of here, but this fire's going to start engulfing this ruin, or certainly working its way downwards as the embers fall and set things on fire. So I don't know why I've just done that to myself, but it seems to make sense. So I think we'll end things there for this session. So Tick has now made his way not very far into the ruin, fought an insectoid. The fire's still chasing him.